All right, on example 6, guys, we're going to make a change on the problem. I want it to stay cosine squared of x plus 4 sine squared of x over 2 equals 1. So you need to make that change. Okay, so we're going to solve this in the interval from 0 to 2 pi. So I need all the answers that exist for it between 0 and 2 pi.
Are we going to have to write small on this one?
It took me a little bit of room to do this one, yes. Okay, so cosine squared of x, guys. What's my biggest issue in this problem that we don't like?
I'm not a fan of the 4.
You don't like the 4? I'm thinking the fraction. We don't like fractions.
I don't like
So let's work on getting rid of that fraction. So if I have, I'm sorry? You can't multiply by 2 because it's a 4 sine squared of the x over 2. But so it's something divided by 2. That's my half angle formula, isn't it? So let's change this piece right here then. So keep your cosine squared of x plus 4. Now, this one is squared, and earlier when we did it, we didn't have a square. So I'm just going to keep the square there, okay? And my equals 1. So now I'm working on that sine of x over 2. How can I rewrite sine of x over 2? It's plus or minus, which we'll talk about in a minute, the square root of 1 minus cosine of u, which in this case is x, all over 2, right? Now, remember the plus or minus depends on what quadrant the x is going to be in. We don't know, but we're squaring it. And what do we know about a plus or a minus when it's squared? It's going to be positive. So we got cosine squared of x plus 4 times. So when we square that, we don't have to worry about it. And what is a square root squared? It cancels. So I just got 1 minus cosine of x over 2, and then my equals 1. Well, what do you think we do now? I'm sorry. All right, so the next thing we can do is we can multiply these two. Remember, this is 4 over 1, so these are going to reduce. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the 4 and the 2 there. So it gives me cosine squared of x plus 2 times 1 minus cosine of x equals 1. Then let's distribute our 2. So cosine squared of x plus 2 minus 2 cosine of x equals 1. Well, what can we do when we have a cosine squared and a cosine in the same problem? We can factor. So I need to put this in order, and I need to make sure it's set equal to 0. So I'm going to move this 1 here over, and I'm going to put it in order. So I got cosine squared of x minus 2 cosine of x plus 1 equals 0. Well, when I check on factoring this trinomial, we know it's going to be cosine of x and cosine of x at the beginning. Is there anything that multiplies a 1 that will add to 2? 1 and 1. Both of them are a minus. Wasn't an alien, nothing to bring back. So, and they're both the same, so when I go to work this out, I know I would set them both equal to 0. But since they're the same, I only have to set one of them equal to 0. So cosine of x minus 1 equals 0. Which means cosine of x is equal to 1. So then think back to your unit circle, because we're solving between 0 and 2 pi. Cosine is what? X or y? X. So where is x equal to 1 at? On the x-axis over at 0 or 2 pi, correct?
Yes.
So which one would we use as our answer?
0.
Why 0 and not 2 pi?
Because 2 pi would be, 2 pi is not in the...
Very good. 2 pi is not my interval because it's 0 included at 2, but not including 2 pi.